In the 1950s, there were these hikers, and they weathered the most horrific snowstorm ever. But at some point in the middle of the snowstorm, the hikers cut their tents and they walked down the mountain where there was this scaggle of trees. We don't know what they did down there, but 3 of their bodies were found up in the trees, like naked, and there were all these scratch marks on the base of the tree to indicate like they had maybe even tried to go up in this tree to hide from something that was trying to attack them. Then the footsteps continued about a half-mile parallel with the mountain to this cave where they found the rest of the hikers, and all of them were deceased. But the ones in the cave, they had exchanged clothing. So like the men were wearing the women's clothes, women were wearing the men's clothes, and several of them had pieces of their face bitten off, like lips, nose, ears, and some of them were radioactive, like their skin was radioactive, their clothes were radioactive, and so they're all dead. So there's just no clue what happened to them. At the same time, the Russian military was doing an exercise in the Ural Mountains, and that night, one of the senior people of this military command noticed there were all these strange lights, which coincided with where these hikers were, like UFOs, basically. And he actually called it in that he thought there was potentially another military unit like operating in the Ural Mountains. And it was officially documented that there were these unidentified objects floating around the area where this all happened. And so when they found out that these hikers were all found dead and there was this sighting, the Soviet government, they investigated, and their conclusion was an unknown, unnatural force killed them. Case closed. And they didn't give any more information about it. It was immediately swept under the rug, and no one was allowed to investigate it. So it ends up being this like fascinating unsolved mystery.